We should be live now. I noticed that it does take a second for it to update, but it should be live. So welcome back to another week. So this is now week 20, I believe, for 2024. Thank you guys for joining. And I did start this quiz here. So if you guys want to go through did you guys want to go through this quiz together, or did you guys want to go through it and do it and then we'll review it later?
It really depends to them. I mean, I can do either or. We can probably just do the test and then go over the answers after we have the test done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do that. Did anybody have any particular questions or anything to cover this week?
How you pronounce your last name? Kaoli?
yeah.
How you doing?
Jan-
Good evening. It's your first time
Hi,
here?
my first time here. My name's Junalyn.
Janon. Always a pleasure, Caesar.
Nice to meet you.
Hey,
Are you in
Junal.
the I'm sorry, go right ahead.
I was just saying hello to Junalin. This is Suyukti here.
Hi, nice meeting you.
Same here.
Are you in the industry, or you're just you're coming in, or
I am in tech, mainly in tech support.
okay.
Yeah, and I met with Chris last week just to learn more about the study GRC, and I'm looking to transition into cybersecurity.
Okay. For you it'll probably be way easier because you have the IT background.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, but I know it's very competitive out there.
Yeah, it can be definitely a little competitive. Do you have any sort of certifications like Security Plus or Network?
I don't have any certifications, but was thinking about getting some.
Gotcha. I mean, I do recommend is just security, and security you're gonna get it just for HR purposes.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what people are saying.
yeah, because I have noticed that everybody, that's the standard is Security Plus. Plus the knowledge that you get out of it, I honestly like Security Plus. I can actually see why, because I'm taking it. I'm about to take the test the at the end of the month, beginning of next, like in literally like the first maybe 5 days of next, if I don't do it this month. But I do feel more prepared after me going over the Security Plus. I feel a little more prepared to talk to people
Mm,
about cyber in general.
okay.
So it does give you a little buffer.
Hmm.
You're gonna feel a little more comfortable. At least that's in my end.
Yeah, this is very broad.
Welcome. Yeah, I was just gonna say welcome Jesse, and then also Space Tacos is on YouTube. So
How are you doing, Space Taco?
yeah, I mean, even with the background in IT, it can still be difficult because it all depends on where you're at, and then there's also the competition part. So there's a lot of people that are looking to get into IT or swap around in IT or InfoSec. So or a lot of the different, not even just that industry. So
Yeah.
I think that it can be a difficult market, and it depends on where you're at.
Yeah. The only thing I'll just
Uh,
say,
I
just don't give up.
yeah. Yeah, and then I did launch this quiz. So if you guys did miss that, you should be able to access it through Zoom here. And then are you there, Jesse? I believe that's Jesse from SlaySec Plus. Let's see. All right. And then one of the things that I wanted to share here is I came across this service now, and this is just a post that they had made for ServiceNow, and they have a link. They have links to all kinds of different topics and training courses across different domains for GRC, and it looks like they're all like the majority of them are free. So, like, there's one here that's on integrated risk management, and it's supposed to. I do believe it's a free course. So I had started to sign up on the process for it, but I have heard ServiceNow is pretty popular out there. So, yeah. It wouldn't be a bad thing to take some of their training if you guys have time, or if you just want to take a closer look at it. I think that's the only issue with this training is the fact that it probably very closely follows along with their software and their stuff. So, but there's also other stuff on here too.
Have you heard of the study.com?
Study.com?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe so.
The only reason I'm asking is because I saw a video. It's like I told you, I'm thinking of going back to school, and I know
Uh-huh.
everybody's talking about the WGU, right?
Uh-huh.
And study.com, I guess is less expensive. But it's like a monthly. I was searching, it's like a monthly thing. It's like 200 and something dollars a month. But you take those courses, and those courses actually, when you do go to school, any school, they actually count by for credits, like college credits. So for an example, instead of you doing, I'm just giving you random numbers for, let's say 4 years, and you have like 3 or 4 courses, you won't do the full 4 years because you already did 3 or 4 courses through study because they transfer over. So
And it's study.com that you said it
yep,
was?
study.com. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one, to be honest. Are they free?
No, no, no. You need to pay because those are actual courses, college courses. Those are college credit courses. It's like 230 something a month. 230 something dollars a month. But if you think about it, like a 4 year college is gonna cost you just I'm just gonna give you a random number, 20 grand. That is not, but I'm just gonna give you a random number, 20,000.
Yeah,
And let's say you do this for 6 months using those college credits. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. So looking at $1,000. Those are
but
$1,000 in reality. You will save them from the 20s because all those college credit will transfer.
well, yeah, but it depends. It depends because if they're on a, I haven't looked at it, but it depends on like what their pricing scale is. Because if it's $230 a month and you work at your own pace, like you could put a obsessive amount of time into it and it could work out. But like if you're working part-time or full-time or you don't have that much time to put into it, you may end up paying more than if you were to just do it through a college.
That's true. Yeah, it
So
depends on the person.
because yeah, I think WGU is I mean it's like at the $200 range for their credit. How much they charge per credit. It's around $200. The
Something like
last time
that.
I checked.
It's like 4,500 every
So
6 months. 4,500 every six
yeah, but
months.
when you look at the college credit amount, I mean, what a standard course is what, 3 months, and it's about 3 college credits. So I think is what I was looking at. Um,
The what basically I
per
was looking
course.
at the business degree in supply chain.
Uh-huh.
Every 6 months it came out, I think 45 is what I was looking, and it's like $200 or $300 more. So let's say 4,800 in total after the fees and all that stuff. So let's just even
Uh-huh.
it up to the whole five. So in a full year is 10 grand. So the way I
Yeah,
was
what I had
thinking at it, go right ahead.
oh, I had calculated out $760 out of pocket if you were to go attend WGU for their information technology assurance bachelor's degree. It came out for me at least, it was $760 a month out of pocket is what I would be looking at. However, the same thing goes for certifications too. So a lot of the certifications like the Sec Plus, or if you go off and get the CISA or whatever it is, those will also account for college credits as well. So,
I know you and I we were talking about the Cybersecurity 101 from Dr. Gerald.
uh-huh.
And you said that actually counts as college credit. Do you know how many college credits and if they
So
actually do count like college credits?
it does not count as college credit. He is trying to get it accredited for college credits.
Gotcha.
So that's the whole goal is he's already talked about how he is trying to partner with other colleges or otherwise to get it accredited because it is a complete 13-week college course. And
Gotcha.
so that would bring extra value to the course itself and more credibility to it in the industry.
Yeah. I mean, anything he
Um,
does has credit, at least in my eyes.
Faster in real life.
yeah.
What's up,
Right.
fellas?
Hey, what's up,
How's
PBO,
it
man?
going,
How you
PPO?
doing?
I'm doing all right, man. A little tired. Old people try to get a walk in before the study hall.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Uh, so should we just start keeping track like on a Wikipedia or make a GitHub for you to keep track of all the topics for you, PBO?
I might need that, man. I did one for my man Caesar though. Shout out to Caesar, man. I gave him the The ITAR one, man, that was especially for Caesar.
I appreciate it.
Man, I gave him so if he see the guy, he ready now, man. He ready with the ITAR.
I am, man. I feel honestly, I mean, I don't have the Sec Plus, but I feel a little more prepared to just sit down and just talk about Sec Plus stuff.
Chop it up.
At least in the basics. Something that I think I'm good at is I can dumb stuff down very easy. Like you can give me anything hard and I'm able to dumb it down.
That's a skill, man. What's the topic today? Anybody got a specific topic?
I do have a question though for everybody. Or go right ahead, Chris. I just have a question for everybody.
So I was just curious about the study.com because I mean that could be a useful resource if depending on the pay scale, but I don't see where they have their pricing. So like on their plans,
search for cybersecurity and you'll see. And I can send you the resource of where and who he actually made a video about this. That he actually used it personally. So I went in there, get that one or get an actual cybersecurity class. All right. So if you go there, I had to create an account. So after you create an account, it tells you if you want to do it, and it gives you like the monthly payments. It comes to like $230 something a month. And that's actually
so you're still paying per course.
Oh, of course, yeah, because these are college courses. This is not free. So if you do decide to go to school, like college, it tells you can transfer these college credits to X or Y. And I know WGU is in one of those colleges.
Is one? Yeah. You said is one?
Yeah, it is one of those colleges. So that the guy that I was seeing is like Chris was saying, like me, I'm putting literally, I mean, Chris knows I'm putting 13, 16 hours a day in education right now, a day. I'm doing
13 to 16 hours a day.
Yeah, you know what I do for a living, and that's all I'm doing. And then I come here and just working with you with books and stuff like that. And yeah, it adds up. I work 12 hours, and then I'm just literally just listening to everything I can.
Yeah, so looking at this like this, I mean, I definitely want to dig into it more. So I'll probably end up making some alias, totally not an alias account for it, and check it out further. But if anybody does know, let me know because what it looks like is maybe it's just cheaper per course.
Yeah, it's a cheaper route.
We're waiting for your report, Mr. Frugal. We need your insight on this.
Yeah, right.
We need your insight on this.
If Chris says it's good, then don't ask questions. Just jump at it.
Yeah. If he said it's price neutral, we in there, man. That's Chris' specialty. Yeah,
exactly.
Man. Chris said it's price ready. We in there.
Well, think about it. We could line out an entire roadmap. Like here, take these 7 courses, and it's cost effective before you attend WGU. Problem solved.
I was WGU because, I'm in the most private companies will pay for it. I mean, if because it's a tax write-off for them. So,
yeah. Do you guys see the quiz itself?
Yep, I saw it.
Okay. I was just checking, making sure that actually launched. And then what was your other question there, Caesar?
Yeah, what you asking me about, Caesar?
Basically, there's a question for everybody. It's just more for me. I just basically want to know when you guys come here to study GRC. I know it's Wednesdays that we have it, or even talk about study GRC. What are you guys really looking to get out of it? Are you guys looking to network with people? Are you guys looking to learn a specific subject? Like, what are you guys really looking to get out of it? Me, myself, personally, is just knowledge. I want knowledge, meet people, networking, and really more knowledge, really. That's all it is. I'm looking for a lot more knowledge than anything else. And a specific umbrella.
Yeah, I'll go first because I think I came here to help people. Shout out to both of the Chris's. I met them and they were a little off path. So y'all gonna get me into heaven, man. When I go to the gates, I'm gonna say I help GRC study hall. Can I get in? I could have been making money. So that's my 2 cents. I came here, man. So I try to donate my time to help people. And I get a lot of questions from you, the Chris's, my homie from Australia. So I'm trying to get into heaven, man. That's all I got. Man. That's all I got.
Anybody else? Don't be shy, guys.
I'm kind of like you. I'm looking to learn more about the field and network and see what other resources are out there too.
I mean, I can honestly say, and again, it's not because I'm here a lot, but I can honestly say that Chris is putting his time, and basically what I see this going, and what he wants is just anything GRC related, not cyber, anything GRC related or security information. You can probably, if he doesn't have it, he'll probably know somebody that has it.
Yeah, well, it's really just a community thing too. It's just like PBO makes himself available, and then Zuyuki has her CISA and CISSP, and that's where the networking part and just reaching out to the people come in. But yeah, it's all a community thing. And then Robert did reach out to me, so he usually does attend, but he does have a couple other things that he has to handle, but he'll be back next week. So,
Cool.
let's see. So I did drop this. I think I kept up with the links on YouTube. Was that the question that you had? Was just that seeing
Yeah,
what people were here for? Okay.
yeah. Question, statement. We're missing one person down there. She's muted.
No, actually,
Oh.
I thought I'll get some snacks.
Shout out to the snacks.
So, I'm trying to find time to apply for jobs because I feel like I have committed to a lot of volunteering assignments. Um, the last I mean, actually, I'm looking for jobs, right? So the last I applied was for like 3 applications, maybe 2 or 3 weeks back. And every day is like a lot of volunteering assignments, which is super interesting, and because I like to keep learning. And end of the day, I'm like, when am I going to prioritize applying jobs? Um, because applying jobs itself is a full-time job, right? So people
Yeah.
ask me like, hey, how is it going? Are you able to get some progress or something? For me, I've not been able to prioritize. I don't know the right word. Maybe I want to figure out the right approach to apply jobs. That's where I am at currently.
Are you applying for remote, hybrid, in office? What are you applying for?
So I'm currently based out in Dallas.
Okay.
I'm okay for, yeah, all three options.
Okay.
I mean, if it's remote, obviously, any location across. But hybrid and in person, I'm open in Dallas.
Dallas is a tech hub. I know Austin's a tech hub. How's Dallas for tech and GRC jobs? I know Austin's hot.
Okay.
I'm kind of in a similar boat. Was laid off last month for my support job. So I'm kind of, trying to apply, and actually had an interview earlier today. So I'm just trying to apply more strategically and instead of like cold applying, because it's tough out there right now. But I recently joined this, it's called Never Search Alone. Yeah, let me paste it here.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's like a peer support group of people that are looking for jobs, and they've been successful using this method.
You said
So-
young people?
Just like no, anyone looking for
I thought you
a
said
job.
young people.
No, I just said it's a mutual support group of just job seekers. And you kind of meet up, and I just started literally like today, but someone on
That actually looks.
LinkedIn,
Mhm.
someone on
Yeah,
LinkedIn,
that looks like a really great thing to share.
Yeah, someone on LinkedIn sent me the link or told me to join. And
You
she actually
hybrid remote or in-house? Which one you trying to get?
mainly remote for me. My last job was remote, but I'm open to hybrid or
It seems like, I don't know, everybody chime in. When I look at remote, it'd be like 200 people applied. So when I be looking at remote jobs, so
I know,
Yeah.
and I was
not
reading
trying to
those.
discourage you.
I was reading those numbers are not accurate actually. Like when you see like 100 people, 100
I think it's
applicants.
accurate. I think it's accurate. I heard that a lot. People said those are bots. I talked to a
I
couple
think it,
hiring managers and they were like, their numbers were up like triple. Go ahead, Chris. I know you think they're bots.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
oh, yeah, I was gonna say that I think it just kind of depends on it because if you have a remote position, especially on something like LinkedIn or Indeed, where you can do quick apply,
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's gonna get spammed way worse. So, but if
Mm-hmm.
it's a remote position where you actually have to fill out an application on their website, that may be a way more, legitimate
When you say
because
spam,
less
are you
people are
talking
going
about
through.
bots or are you talking about people that's applying that's not qualified? What's your definition of spam or both?
Well, bots or people who are unqualified, because that's one of the issues. Like I had seen a position where it was a entry level role with over 5,500 applicants for a remote position for like a equivalent to like a SOC 1, and they had the quick apply. So, and also what I've heard is that not only tailoring the resume itself, but also applying through the company's website directly and trying to avoid the quick apply options.
I love the
Mm-hmm.
quick apply, but I hear you. I'm a quick
So,
apply guy, but I hear you. That's how I
Easy
got
apply.
mine.
Yeah.
That's how I got mine, but I got a lot of experience, so I might got a little. But I played a numbers game though. I applied to 3 jobs every
yeah.
day for 3 months before I got mine. So I just played a brute force number game. But I got a little more experience too. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and I think it really does depend on like what kind of job role, because I feel that there's a lot more people who are out there trying to do the entry level positions. And I see less people, at least what I've looked around with is less people for those senior roles. And
that's not
so it might be a little bit different.
well.
You know, once you,
Before I applied, they said 100 people applied. Because I got down to the
yeah,
last three like 20 times and I never got it. But they said they at least had like 200 people apply for them.
yeah. Well, and it also seems like MSPs are becoming more and more popular. At least from what I've seen.
Yeah.
So, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what angle you look at it, and the MSP, I suppose. But I find that part interesting too because it just seems like it's getting more and more popular for companies to just outsource it because then it's just less for them to have to deal with, even if it costs them a little bit more.
Yeah,
You know,
we outsource our SOC. So yeah, I've
yeah.
seen a lot of SOCs outsourced because it's just you talking about buying
Hello,
Splunk
everyone.
or what's up? You probably about buying
Hey,
Splunk
how
or
you doing, Samuel?
Hey, how
Elk
you
Cache.
doing,
All that
Samuel?
stuff is super expensive. So, like you're right, everybody's going to the outsourcing of pieces of their security, and I think GRC is going to go that route too in a little bit.
So here's a question. So when you outsource to a MSP, and let's say wouldn't that account? So that would account as a supply chain, right?
Correct. Yeah. Same thing
So
we
yeah,
did.
that's
We got to do look at the DPA, look at our contracts. We got to do a security review. Most of those companies they do federal work, so they got your FedRAMP cert, your SOC 2 Type 2 certs, ISO certs. So you, from a security perspective, you got to do your third party assessment, like we did that one day here. Walk through your questions, do your reviews. So yeah, that's a part of that third party.
yeah, I think that's an interesting way to look at it. Your actual SOC center as a third party.
The two is a
Because
lot.
so yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you can, like we were looking at the contract, you can transfer a lot of your liability to your side. Like they gotta have cyber insurance, they gotta have 24/7. The only thing, which is not a huge thing, is most of those chase the sun, so they have an Indian team. So some of your federal contracts, all that's got to be in the United States. So can you have India work? And Ireland's pretty hot now, chasing the sun. So you got to kind of, from a federal perspective, look at all that.
Yeah, I actually haven't really thought about that aspect of it.
I might do
So
a video on that. We
because
be chopping it up about. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, and I know that Caesar would like to hear even more about it.
Well, the C's want to hear more about that. Is he third party
Uh,
again?
Casually, Joseph said in the chat, in regards to the as far as applying, that networking is very valuable, is what he was saying in chat. And then
Yeah.
also he was saying that he would assume that getting a SOC 2 verified would be best. I believe he's talking about the MSP side.
SOC 2 type 2?
Yeah, I think
Hold
that's what
on.
he's referring to.
Most of that's done by accounting firms, and most of those I read are
Mhm.
woefully short when you roll your sleeves up and dig into them. Now, I think I'm at the top of digging, so I think most companies don't do that. But when I look at them, they always missing something. So, um, my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I've heard the pretty similar thing regarding SOC 2 already. It's more of just a
CYA.
yeah, yeah. It's more just so that way you could do the business and so forth. But yeah, signed off by a CPA. But I mean, it's better than nothing, I suppose. But
Oh no, way better than nothing. Two is
yeah.
most companies doing risk assessment don't have that type of talent to do a proper
Mhm.
risk assessment. So maybe I'm, as we say, I'm glossing myself saying I'm better than most. But so yeah, so it's gonna be higher than most people gonna do a review, right? I've done a lot of federal reviews, so I think I dig a little deeper than normal people. Like when we were playing around with the DPA when we were looking at Trillo, right? Most people wouldn't have caught that. So shout out to me. I'm gonna give myself shout out to me. But now go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also where like the experience part comes in. You've
Yeah.
gone through so much policy that you were able to catch those highlights out of a policy in the matter, just
Yeah.
second nature.
I've been doing it for a decade. So yeah, and I work with some high level lawyers that made me look at different stuff. Like when we looked at that given our intellectual property, probably 5 years ago I wouldn't have caught that. But once again, hanging out with lawyers and seeing what they look at, and when you talk about cyber insurance, termination for convenience of contracts, kind of how that flows down to IT and GRC, from a contract review and IT audit review. So once again, I've been doing that for almost 20 years now.
It adds up quick.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
crazy.
try to pull this quiz. Okay, so
I finished
yeah,
mine
I'll go ahead
already.
and okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it up for now. Did anybody else have any other topics or any questions to ask?
Let me know. I got 2 topics I was gonna hit. A couple people asked me questions. I was just gonna bring them here, but if anybody got something, they can go first.
Yeah, go for it. I'm gonna mark down
Uh,
the time so I could snip it.
we can do that. And we talked about that. If you bring up NIST 800-53, it says organizationally defined. And somebody reached out to me, a good friend of mine said, I can't find what organizationally defined is at, right? So when this 800-53 said organizationally defined, the organization, a lot of people know I did a lot of IRS work. I do a lot of NSA work and a lot of federal work. So when it says organizationally defined, the organization, the IRS. So if you go to IRS Pub 1075, they'll show you the organization defined parameters. Like theirs is after 3 false log ons, you get locked out. Other things, maybe you get timed out and get back in the hours. So those are kind of parameters they were looking for. And 2, if you go, I send her to AWS config has their default baseline from this 800-53. I think they take the parameters from all over those. So if you go to AC2 or AC1, you will see the parameters in there. They'll be highlighted. So when
From
this, go ahead.
oh, on the 53?
No, on the IRS. Well, if you look at it'll tell you the parameters. It'll say organization defined in this 800-53. Then if you go to AC2 and IRS, they'll show you what those parameters is for that particular security family.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that works. Then 2, if you go to AWS, most people are in the cloud, they have a NIST 800-53 and they give you their base parameters for their base setup. Now, if you do something specifically to the IRS, you would go to IRS Plus 1075 and it tell you the specific setting they want you to set for password complexity, log on, log off, how you gotta, what are you logging inside your your infrastructure, your database, your web server, your app server, right? All that'll be inside IRS and their schism check. So they were looking for parameters, so I was just kind of pointing to where those parameters were located at. So yeah, on their side, you see where it says organizationally defined.
For AC2, right?
Yeah, I think it was AC2. You scroll down, it's in the bold. Let me get let me see, let me go to my LinkedIn and get those specifically out of there. It was AC7, I apologize. I just looked in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at it. I'm like, I'm not finding it.
7. My bad. I'm winging
Oh,
it
you're
off the
fine.
top of the
Yeah.
dome. So 7. So yeah, it's an organizationally defined. If you go over 7, they got the log on, log off. You see 3 consecutive lockout, 120 over there. So those where there's an organizationally defined, the IRS gives you what those parameters should be for those particular values for that particular security family.
So what I kind of find interesting is that the IRS 1075 looks simpler, looks way more straightforward than the 53.
Well, the reason why is the 53 is trying to make it as a base for security families for NSA, IRS, DOD, right? So it's got to be, kind of vague. The IRS says this is the check for that. So I think with it trying to cover a lot of government agencies, I think that's why it's, like you said, a little more nebulous, right? So, but the IRS says this is a check and this is a setting. So when we do our NESA scan, this is what we're going to be looking for. If you don't have it set to this, then that will be a finding. You have to do a POAM, that whole part. So they asked me what they were looking for that. And they were like, what does that mean? So I just kind of broke it out. Then let me send you, I'll put it in the chat. Then the AWS kind of gives you kind of like NIST 800-53. They give you a base settings for it. If you generically you're trying to do some government work, they give you base settings for all their services. I'll put that in the chat while we talking.
While you look up for that information, I do have a question. Maybe had asked before, but my question is, as a GRC, as in GRC, do you think it's worth it going for a certification for cloud?
Yeah, because
And it
everything's
will
going
help.
cloud. Yeah, because you're gonna be in a mix. I've got a lot of interviews just because I got cloud certs. I got about 20 years, but they tell me specifically my cloud certs help me get an interview.
So after you get
Yeah.
after I get like the security plus and all that stuff, would it be good going Amazon or Microsoft or whatever?
I'll pick one. Yep, I think so.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before on the fact that, especially the way that everything's going, a lot of businesses are going to
Facts.
cloud. So yeah,
Facts.
picking one of those, once you get the basics down,
They're the same.
especially in the GRC realm, then you should specialize and, pick one.
Yep.
If you know like a target company, or if you get a position and, they work with Azure or they work with AWS or whatever it is, then, obviously that would probably be the best option to focus on.
Facts.
I was just looking for my chart here that I pulled up a couple of times before, because I think AWS was what, 24% market share or something.
Yeah, Amazon. I mean, good. Azure gonna catch them though. Real quick, that link, any technology used inside AWS, you can find it on this chart, and they tell you what their best practices is for NIST 100 R5, and they tell you what that setting is in there. If you're talking about EC2, ECS, containers, Docker, Kubernetes, any of their base software, they tell you what that NIST check is and what their default setting for. Do me a favor, Chris, real quick while you're gonna look up that AC7 over there and see if you can probably find it. Well, the price for that. See what that AC7 is over there.
Really?
I think they're doing it by service, not by. Are they doing it by that or service? Well, it looks like they're going it on. But yeah, Caesar, like he said, I think from a GRC perspective, standing out, you gotta have some basis in the cloud.
Okay.
Like I said,
Okay.
we talk about cloud all the time and talking about different cloud vendors. And two is GRC. Sometimes you got to give these settings to your engineers, right? Because they don't know what those NIST settings are or RS-Pub 1075. So you got to give them the requirements so the engineers can set it in the infrastructure database or whatever. So a lot of times they ask me what those settings are.
And
to
this is
be
what? This is
NIST compliant.
53?
Yeah,
This
that's
53?
Yeah,
That's 53.
this one
So
is.
so 53 is the one that goes with cloud?
No, 53 is NIST. That's the standard. Look on the side. You could be CMC in the cloud. You could be HIPAA in the cloud. Whatever
Okay.
federal agency you're trying to do, they're going to tell you what your
Desmond.
settings is for your infrastructure. Go ahead, Chris.
Gotcha. And my
Yeah.
next, oh my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna just show you. Yeah, so he dropped the link on there, and I went ahead and put the link on YouTube. But on the left-hand side, it allows you to actually go to it. So like CMMC level 2, and then they have the best practices here. And I
Yeah.
also wanted to point out one of the cool things I really like about this is you can download the PDF
Yeah.
or even subscribe
It's
to the
hard to get
RSS.
though, man. I did it. It was like 75 meg.
Is
It was
it?
so crazy. Yeah, for some reason, I just did this. It was a crazy because they give you every service. So I
And
was
this is all
struggling to
cloud
get.
right here.
Yep, that's cloud life, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so this
Okay.
is best practices based on the framework for the
Yeah.
cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
they even have it available for the GitHub for the AWS configuration.
Yeah, because a
So
lot of times you can put this
Not
in
bad.
AWS Cloud Formation or Terraform, and it automatically do those settings for you. And they're AWS
Yeah,
config, and I'm gonna start doing more videos on
awesome.
AWS. It'll
And
set it, and if somebody take it off, it'll notify you or it'll put it back. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Caesar.
like there's any, I guess, certifications or certificates or just class in general? Because basically, let's say for an example, Osaka, if you want to go audit, you have the CISA. There's any type of certification that you audit cloud instead of like because I see practitioners, all that stuff. Like
It was
there's
one in there, Chris. Well, is that it, Chris? We talked about it. I was
So
thinking about taking it. Go ahead.
yeah, so there's this one here that I had looked at before. I could go ahead and drop this link, but so this is the AWS Cloud Compliance and Auditing.
But it's not a cert,
And
right?
like
It's
they
just a
have,
class, right?
is that a cert?
yeah, so it's no, so you don't actually get a certification. So
Uh-huh.
AWS does not actually have a certification for assessment for going through and doing auditing.
Oh,
They
God.
they
How
don't
about
have
Azure?
one.
How about Windows?
Yeah, so Azure, you got me messed up on it now.
That's funny.
So the SC 900 is what I've been told is the recommendation to start with compliance and assessment in Azure.
Yeah.
So the SC 900 is a beginner level for Azure's security, compliance, and identity fundamentals. So it goes through. What I really like about Microsoft's is they provide all the training that you absolutely need. Like I would still recommend to go through and search up the different topics that it covers. You could still research it, look at YouTube videos and so forth, but they do provide you everything that you need in order to pass the certification for no cost. And the certification, at least in the US, is $99,
$100.
which
It's
is
not
pretty
bad at
affordable.
all. It
That's
is.
not bad. For
That
them,
is
that's not
very.
bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Shout out to
Okay.
Microsoft.
Yeah,
I'm
and so this
surprised
is a
AWS
really
don't
good.
have one. Go ahead, Chris. I'm surprised AWS doesn't
I
have
know.
one. I'm still
Yeah, and so
perplexed.
like AWS does have a lot of classes that you could take that is in regards to it, but they don't have a certification for it.
Facts. Bring
And
up
in
their
reality,
service.
in reality,
Mhm.
jobs are looking for certifications.
I know.
Well, and
Unfortunately,
so like the
people want that piece of
certification
paper.
it depends because like a large majority of it is that skill though too. That certification just gets your foot in the door maybe, or proves
That is,
that you at least know something. But
that is true.
I know
But
people
it's
who got hired with no certifications because they were able to prove that they knew what they were doing.
correct, but it's a little
So
harder if you don't have certifications. And like for example, the same situation with the Security Plus. Somebody with Security Plus knows what they're doing because Security Plus will give you knowledge, I guess, a little bit, I guess, depending on the person. And they might be somebody that doesn't have no type of certification, and they might be a hero. But unfortunately, that the HR is gonna trust the person that spend the time studying for that cert.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Unfortunately.
one reason. Yeah, I feel that's one reason why the majority of the people I do see get hired is because of networking.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
I mean, that's really what it is. It's more networking than anything else, because when you network, then it's a lot easier for somebody to say, "Oh, yeah, they know what they're doing." You know, "Oh, he doesn't have the CISA, but you know, he's taking training on it."
you doing
Or, you know,
YouTube videos. I've got interviews off my YouTube
you know.
videos.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. And then I have another question as well. Basically, the whole entire incident is going on HIPAA related. All the hospitals are getting hit now. Would you
Yeah,
think
so
would you think it will be easier just applying for hospitals because all the hospitals are getting hit, or what?
the only problem with that is hospitals usually short on budget unless they're a big hospital. So I think that's one reason they hit, because unless you're a big hospital, they struggle for money. They're trying to get government grants and funding. So
Oh, so if there's no money, there's
Ye-
no salary.
well, I would apply for them. If you look on Indeed, there's some out there. There's some. I used to do a lot of HIPAA work on LinkedIn. I mean, on Upwork. So that's funny. I might start doing that again.
Because man, I'm after I get that Sec Plus and I do a couple more things, I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna start, and I know
So,
I have been meeting a lot of people in my industry or what I'm doing right now at work.
Facts.
It's just I
and
feel a bit a little more capable.
yeah, I kind of like the fact of what you're bringing up as far as like the healthcare part. I think one of the biggest issues is not only because of the cost. Like I just on the news, there was a thing. One of the hospitals, I believe in Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
their entire emergency room doctors and nurses walked out because of pay and work conditions.
Yeah.
And you know, that like it's I would consider that a pretty high risk environment too.
Yeah.
Especially with them getting hit. They've been getting hit pretty badly the last few
It's
years, and it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing to get into. I think it's really great, but I would think that they would be looking less for the entry level. Like, I mean, they're probably hiring entry level, but they should be hiring somebody who can
knows
hit the
what
ground running.
exactly. Yeah.
Facts.
Because I don't know if I read this or somebody got me hooked on Darknet Diaries. Like that's a very
Yeah.
nice podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was there that I heard or I read it. It's just like the hackers had, I guess, some sort of ethical something that they really didn't even hit at hospitals into the last couple of years because hospitals really were number two. Number one was manufacturers. They were
Mhm.
the
Oh yeah.
ones that were getting hit left and right. Now
Mm-hmm.
these guys are green light everything. It's like hospitals are getting hit bad, and it sucks. It really sucks. As people are getting they're dying. They're just it's not even a money thing. We're talking about people's lives.
Yeah, hackers a lot of hacking groups would not hit hospitals. So I don't
Exactly, because
know.
they had some sort of ethical
I think the new hackers,
compass.
they don't care, man. They trying to
So,
get this
They
money,
don't.
man. They out there, bananas is like $900, man. They out here trying to get some. So, nah,
yeah, and like
man.
Osier talked about it a few
Yeah.
times recently. Because yeah, back in the day, it was just not ethically acceptable in the industry. So like even the black hats, they would typically try to stay away from like hospitals and,
Some
you
sort of
know, I don't know,
respect.
orphanages. You know, there's just some
Yeah,
things that are just crossing a line kind of thing. But over the
yeah,
last, what, 10 years or so, I
yeah.
think I
10,
would say
10. Yep, I
it's
think it's
been
10.
just going downhill.
It is.
And
And
yeah, and so I was just going to add on that too, that I think a large majority of that has to do with international.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
100%.
I don't really follow it too much, but like Lockbit, you know, you have Lockbit and you have a lot of these APTs that are,
Mhm,
you know, nation state threat
mhm.
actors or otherwise. And, you know, like Gerald was talking about on the morning daily threat briefing is, you know, they literally go through, they steal from financial banks and businesses, they have it in crypto or otherwise, and then they convert that into cash to, you know, buy their missiles that, you know, can't hit an island.
Facts.
So,
yeah,
Yeah, uh, in as much as I agree with you, I still believe, in my opinion, that part of the problem is the management. American managers are very sloppy, with all due respect. Managers are very
yeah.
sloppy. They don't care. It's all about money to them. They don't care to invest. Have you called customer service and the computer is down? They put you on hold because some of them are still using Windows 98, Windows 9.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. And they know this is. These guys are up all night planning and having meetings how they're going to suck money from America, and they know people are very lazy to
Yep.
get the job. They don't want to invest the money. Yeah, they want to get a big paycheck. It's very unfortunate. Look at what happened to United Healthcare. Look at how much of data they were taking out. Okay, how can you just let your system and your people, somebody keep going there taking data over and over again? There is no somebody watching the system. Nobody knew. Nobody who recognize what is going on. How much data you leave in the company within what hours? Come on now, that is a clear sign of something going wrong, and nobody did anything about it. Now they're talking about sending rebate to people. That is just nonsense. That is nonsense. They are not serious. They should be going to jail. They are very incompetent. With all due respect, they are very incompetent. That's just my opinion.
And quite honestly, I haven't really looked too much into it. I think somebody like Casually Joseph would be really good for it, but you know, the way that it works, like internationally, especially when you get hacked by, you know, a hacking group that's, you know, nation state from China or something, like I guess you just really count on your insurance, I suppose. Hope for the best. Like I don't think there's really any repercussions on it. I could be wrong.
Not even, because when the hospitals get
Yes.
hit, man, you know how long people stayed without medicine? It was
Yeah,
like
thank you.
it was more than like my dad, he was diabetic. Thank God he always piles up a whole bunch of his he's actually now became pre-diabetic. You can actually do that. So he's not an insulin, he barely drinks his pills. Like he really, really takes care of himself. But there's people that need to live. Let's say if you have cancer, AIDS, or anything that you 100% needs medicine, when you go to the pharmacy, you go to Walmart, you go to anywhere, insurance were denying absolutely everybody. Nobody was
Yep.
able to get nothing. Like the most
Yep.
you can get is probably an aspirin, and that's it. Like any other
Mhm.
medicine, everybody declined. They actually opened that up 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago is when people
Yeah.
started getting their medicine.
That's
Like
crazy.
it's
I
like,
saw
man,
that.
if I had a family
The-
member that really needed that, like, man, I don't even know. I don't even want to be in those shoes because it sucks. It really,
And
really sucks.
these are people that have cancer and supposed to take medication every day.
Yeah.
Every lady, she almost died. She almost died. She had to go and pay out of pocket over 15K out of pocket to stay alive. Come on now. And these guys get millions of dollars in pay in salaries and bonuses. Doing what?
I guess from my point, when we talk about incident response, it seemed like they would have had a contingency plan for that. So I guess they never thought about that actually happening. So I was a little perplexed because I actually was talking to my pharmacist like everybody else. I kind of pile up on mine, but I'm not taking anything that's life or death. So that was a little bit. I think I did a video and I was talking about that. What was the incident response? What was the coup plan? Obviously, there was none. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. And
Well, I was gonna add on the fact that, like, I understand, like, I mean, it's just like Gerald says too, is like, yeah, okay, hospitals are a good money target to hit, but at the same time, ethically speaking, like, it's just messed up. I mean, you're literally affecting people's, you know, well-being. Like,
Well,
people are
100%,
are dying from it.
100%.
I guess from my perspective is I just assumed, which I guess I was thinking too crazy, was obviously I've got medicine at the pharmacy before. Obviously I've got insurance because I got the medicine last month. So the odds of my insurance being lapsed, meaning I got fired, which would be small. So I would think they would just go ahead and fill those up and just bill them back later. But obviously that didn't happen. From an
No, that
incident
didn't
response and just kind of
No.
thinking about
at
that
all. You need to pay cash, and usually those medicines,
are crazy high.
yeah, especially like for the biggest thing right now in the market is the Oxypins. That's really for a diabetic, but people are using it to lose weight, and actually does
Yeah.
work. Those
Yeah.
pins cost $1,300.
I
Like
know
at that
my
point, if
Lord.
you
Yeah.
wanted that,
So,
you had to pay cash if you wanted that. Like, insurance is
That's
not going to
crazy.
take care of none of that stuff.
That's
And
crazy.
that's actually for a
well,
diabetic.
Facts.
And You see, part of the problem was
And-
that the United Healthcare system was down. They seized it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. They seized it. They had to pay 22 million before they were able to release it. So pharmacists couldn't log
So
it.
how long? So how long are these hospitals down for?
The insurance actually
Days.
opened it up 2 weeks
Days.
ago. So basically a month. A month.
Yeah.
Who was this?
Then
Because
they
I
paid
don't
22
even, I
million.
haven't even looked at that.
United
So the
Health.
reason I ask,
United Health.
what was it?
United Health.
United Health? Yeah, I'm going to look more into that because I find that really interesting. Because I was going to try to sway the topic here a little bit towards that incident response portion of it. Because like, if it took a month to get everything back up and running, like what are they doing? I don't
That's
think they
pretty
called
quick.
Barricade Cyber Solutions.
No, to be honest, that's pretty quick for a lot of companies, man. They be down for like
Yeah.
3 months, man. It's
For a
crazy.
for a medical company though, like
Yeah, because you
I
don't
mean,
know
at
if
that
it's a
point,
It's
zero
a
day.
ransom, man.
You don't know if
It's
it's
a
0 day ransom, so you don't know where the hose is. It might take you.
you wipe it, you delete everything, you throw it up in the cloud and throw your backups on it and hope that it, the backups are old enough that they weren't already there.
You can't do that because if it's a 0 day, you just put it back up there, Chris. You gotta figure out what happened. So if you erase it and you put it back up there, you're a 0 day. They just coming right back.
I just find that amazing for a month to be down, like in the
And
medical field.
and I'm being conservative because I honestly think I'm just paying
I thought it was a
attention.
little longer.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I'm
Steve.
paying attention basically of my family side with the medicine. They were a little more over than a month without getting the medicine because when you go, they even the pharmacists were calling the insurance people,
Yeah.
and insurance people were denying everything. They said we just got hacked, we can't do nothing, and we do not know when the systems are coming up. Like you
So-
couldn't even search that.
Fact. So realistically, and Caesar brought up a good point. And I talk about this. You need to have a personal incident response. So you need to start getting 3 months of your medicine in case this happen again, right? You need to start stockpiling this, right? So, and 2 is if your power gets cut off for a month, are we gonna be, hanging out with zombies, robbing people to survive? So I'm weird. I got 3 months of water. I got 3 months of food. I got ramen noodles. I got a generator. I tell people I'm hood prepping. So, go ahead. So PBO gonna be all right. He gonna be all right. Go ahead.
You're prepping.
I'm hood prepping.
Yeah, see, like if I lose power in the wintertime, I'm going to be burning the insulation in my walls.
So yeah, I got firewood behind my garage, just a little bit. So I don't know. People be laughing at me. I'm like, dude, I'm hood prepping. I can laugh. I always think if the power gets cut off for a month, PBL gonna be okay. I don't know about you. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know about you, but the only thing I have is my Dominoes. I'm good.
Nah, man. I got water, ramen noodles. I got my propane gas out there. People gonna be starving. I'll be out there grilling. Nah, I'm just playing. I went too far with that. But nah, you need to have a personal incident response plan. What's happening for this? What happened? I got a separate bank account. If my bank gets hacked, I got another bank where I got some lines of credit so I can continue to do what I do, right? That I never connect to that bank on the web. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was going to say, and I mean, that's also where, like the GRC side of things is not only in business, but in personal life as well.
Right.
You should have an incident response plan and have the proper, mitigations in business, but then also in your own personal life as well.
Right.
I mean, everything's risk.
Because long story short, the last pandemic, we didn't do well with toilet paper. So
I don't know why, bro. I don't know why that is so true. That is so true.
It's a true story. I'm at Target. I got like 100 cans of soup I buy the first every year. So I'm in Target on my knees, and this little kid's looking at me like I'm taking all the soup from him. So I was like, dude, what you want? So he wanted a couple ravioli. So I gave it to him. I felt like we were in The Walking Dead in the last pandemic. So every year I buy 100 cans of soup. They usually have 1.5 years on the label. So I just have them up in my cabinet in case I need to, warm them up.
This is crazy. Like the situation, I don't know if I'm going that deep, but the hospital situation for me is the same situation with schools. Same situation with schools.
Why is that the same situation with schools?
School shootings is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought about
that used to be a green zone. Now that people don't care.
Oh no, facts. People trying to make their get fame from that.
Yeah.
So no, that's true. So you got to have a plan. So if something happened to your kids, because the one time, I'm not talking about them, the police was scared to run up in there.
Yeah,
The guy
that's
was knocking them off. So people
Yep.
were coming behind the school, knocking out windows and pulling their kids out the back because the police wouldn't do it. So you got to figure out what's the plan for your kids.
That's
All
true.
my grandkids got a plan. Where we gonna meet? If this is not here, you need to go here. Who gonna pick you up? What you need to do? So, me and your
Yeah,
dad
and
gonna
that's
come and
also
get you.
yeah, and so that's where you can, apply it to real life, especially when you have children, your network settings, your device settings, the whole nine yards.
Okay.
There's a lot. I forget her name. There's a person on LinkedIn. I'm going to try to find her profile because she posts stuff all the time in regards to like protecting children online. And she's part of an organization for it. It's actually really, really good information,
I think I seen her.
especially for parents.
What I do
But
for the grandkids, we got Apple tags in their shoes. When we take them to the fair or we go on an outing, they got Apple tags. We think it's like taken. We gotta have about 48 hours to find you, baby. So we got the air
I
tags
wish I
in the
had that on
shoes.
a.
We coming. So PBO
Yeah, I
probably
wish I
doing too
had that
much in his old
soundtrack.
yeah, PBO doing too much in his old age. But I told my son, better put some Apple air tags, man, because people weird out here, man. So we gonna find you. So
Yeah, and having all of those different things in place is a very important part, I think. In today's world, like there's so many different options. And I mean, honestly, I don't really know, what the average would be across the board. But I mean, preparing for different events, like in the winter time here, our winters are very bad. And so if we lose power, like if we don't have a generator, we don't have a source of heat, like we're gonna die. Like I'm 80 miles from any town. Like there's no other option. I'm not walking 80 miles in 12 feet of snow. So it's the same thing like when Texas lost power and
that was
people were
crazy.
dying from the cold.
That was
It was
crazy.
what,
yeah.
20 degrees or something?
Yeah, pipes
Yeah.
were freezing and busting. I
Like
remember that. That was crazy.
Austin was, I'll tell you this, where I live, Austin was not, repeat, not
And
prepared. The only people that had, or the only things that were having fun was my dogs. Because I have a San
Yeah.
Bernard and a Husky. Those are the only two that had fun.
But
Everybody else, it was
but
bad.
yeah, I did a video. Y'all got your own like power company that was in Austin that wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. Was
Yeah,
that
here you have Blue Bonnet, you
that
have
was something?
Austin, you have
Yeah, it was weird.
Bernard, but Austin was not prepared. I mean, this for the last year and the year after, they were a little more prepared with salt. But you need to understand, like here in Austin, it's not like where Chris lives. They're used to that. Here, we
yeah,
get some snow, but Chris won't call
Oh,
that snow.
facts.
Like
I'm in
it's like
Indiana.
little
it's called
flakes.
frost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just little flakes. We at that point when you
Um,
hear the news talking about feet and not inches, you know it's serious.
Yeah, yeah, not
They
right.
were talking
Atlanta's
about
like
feet,
that. Yeah, I was
not
in
inches.
Atlanta when it snowed. They didn't even have snow plows in Atlanta, so they
The
shut
biggest
down the whole
truckers are
city.
garbage.
Yeah, they
don't you
shut down the
know?
city for 2 inches when I was in Atlanta. That's about 15 years ago. I'm from Indiana, like you said, that's a dusting, but Atlanta didn't have any snow removal equipment, so it was crazy.
The
People don't know
biggest
how to drive on it, so it was
no,
really, really crazy.
at all.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
The insurance
yeah,
were
and like
the insurance were hot. I'll say that. The insurance companies, I knew a lot of people crashing vehicles on purpose because of that.
yeah, and
It's
Wow.
just
Zuyuki, yeah, Zuyuki said personal incident response. That's exactly what that is. And
Facts.
that applies to business too. And so it's the
Yeah.
exact same thing you have to account for in business. If you have multiple locations across the country, you got to make sure like someday it's pretty popular up here, but there's a company called Swans. It's like home delivery food service. I think it's down there too.
oh yeah, it is.
Um,
Uber does that.
yeah, they actually are founded out of Minnesota, so it's pretty popular in this area. So like for them, for an example, they have like I think 200 locations nationwide, mostly up in the north. And so they have to go through, or they should go through and make sure that, the employees have the proper PPE for that environment, make sure that the trucks are fitted for it, and take different precautions. It's the same thing like I've talked to like the UPS drivers up here. They have to go through and they have to have special stuff and incident response related activities before weather hits. So, and that same thing applies to business too. So,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know,
It's called BIA, Business Impact Analysis, where you go through
What's your
rank
name?
the different
Caesar.
part.
Yes, sir.
Caesar. Do you know of cybersecurity?
Of who?
Cybersecurity. It's an organization. They also in Austin. There's a conference coming up.
Oh, no, send it to me. Like, definitely send it to me.
Put it in the chat.
Well, okay, yeah, you need to
Are you planning to
can
come down
join
here?
them. Huh?
Are you planning to come down here?
No, I'm not. I belong to the one in Dallas. They're all over. I belong to the one in Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me.
definitely send it to me. I'm interested in anything. I'm really trying to network. Basically,
Yeah.
I left my job, and what I'm doing now is literally Uber. That's what I'm doing right now, and I'm networking with absolutely everybody, everybody.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
trying
this
to
is a
get a
good one to
job.
join. They have this is the one coming up tomorrow. Data connectors coming up tomorrow in Fort Worth. But if you join, if you join Cyber Varsity, which is a $100 membership, then you get to go to all this event free of charge.
Yeah, definitely send it to me, please.
Okay, let me.
You can post it here in the chat so everybody else can see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do right now. Let me see if
And then I have something else before I do forget. I don't know if you guys seen what Chris had in his screen, GRC Masterclass. I know for Payal and YouTube, that's something that would be pretty good for her because she's getting in the industry, and probably for you as well. GRC analyst class, you
yeah.
will
So
okay.
understand. Yeah,
yeah, we originate from Simply Cyber,
yeah,
and I've taken the GRC analyst course.
me too.
That's one of the big things that opened up my eyes, and then with the assistance of PBO as well. Um, it really made it a lot simpler, way simpler. And there are multiple options too. So I'll throw it out there real quick on the fact that you can go through simplycyber.io to go through and get it. And so a lifetime is $150. And so he updates it as well. He was talking about adding a few other things to it in the near future. Or you can also go
For
through TCM. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, so
TCM is in a bit.
TCM Sec.
20, $30 a month, and then you can do that definitely in a month.
Yeah,
It's
and
all the way
so
in the
one of the
bottom.
benefits with TCM Sec is then you get access to these other courses too. So if you have the time available and you don't want to keep access to the course, this would be a good
Right there,
cost-effective method to go through
right
it.
there.
Yeah, so it's right here. So you get access to the course, you still get a certificate for it, and you get access to other stuff as well for $30 a month.
Yep.
And it has the
And
same content.
100%. And Dr. Gerald's, if you're looking to get into GRC, that's probably one of the first ones I'll tell you to do that. Chris, even send them to the one with a vulnerability one.
yeah, I
And
did
that one and
Yeah.
that
Dr.
and that one is
Joe's
free. That one is actually free. Is
cyber already.
vulnerability. It is very, I mean, whatever Dr. Gerald does is, yeah, there's don't, yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
and so yeah, there's that. And then also we had mentioned business impact analysis. So SANS has an amazing resource for policies and procedures and guidelines, all kinds of different stuff in here. I'm pretty sure this is where I did find a business impact analysis at one point from SANS for a template, because they walk through it. So these are really, really good to go through and learn what you need to do. And they come in
Is
PDF and doc format.
is that
Bluetooth-based
membership, is it
requirements.
free? Is membership free, or do you have to pay for membership on that?
Yep. So these ones are free. You don't even have to sign in to download it.
Sign
Last
in.
time I checked. Yeah. So you don't even have to log in to download these. And I
Okay.
dropped a link in YouTube and in chat there. Let me pull this up too. So then CIS also has some amazing templates as well.
Chris, why you bring that
So
up? Chris, why you bring that up is I generate mine out of Chat GPT now, but go. So I use Chat GPT to generate mine, but go ahead. I think those
Oh,
still are nice
So
to. Go ahead, Chris. My 2 cents.
yeah, so I gotta find it again here. But so I think ChatGPT does do a great job, but also you have many years of experience. And so I'll pull one of these up. So if you go to CIS's website and then you can get a link to this page here. I can drop a link to this, but then you have to go over to resources and then you have to go over to controls free resources, I believe is where it's at. And then they have policy templates. Yeah. So this is the link I'll drop. So policy templates, you have to open that up. And then they have all of these different ones here. And so the benefit with these, let me see. Yeah. So I got it downloaded, is the fact that they just go through and they explain every single step.
Facts.
Let me change the view. Light mode. So with the different policies from SANS and from CIS is that if you don't have the knowledge or the background for policies and procedures and so forth, they walk you through every single step. So literally right here, like the purpose, what is the purpose for this? What is the scope? And it gives you more in-depth details on how to properly outline. So then you go through and you modify this and it assists you along the way on what you need inside of this policy. And that's what I really like about this. Like this is 18 pages all about acceptable use policies.
Guess not a big pushback is I think this is for a medium-sized company. A lot of times that might be too much for a smaller company. But I agree with you that it does give you lay it out cookie cutter so you don't have to guess. But a lot of times smaller companies that's hammer for a fly. Go ahead.
Even
I completely agree. I think from a educational standpoint, just to learn, this is a great resource.
100%.
But in actual business, you're going to have to, remove 50% of this.
Yeah, you got to tailor it. Okay, that's cool.
Taylor, not remove.
Taylor.
Yeah, we don't use the word remove anymore.
Taylor.
Remove, delete doesn't exist. Those words were removed from the English language now.
Even today, I think it was today, in jaw jacking, this morning briefing for Dr. Gerald, whoever doesn't know, he has a stream every morning. Jaw jacking is usually at the end. Somebody did ask the question that he's literally the only GRC guy in the company, and the company actually wanted to actually invest in CSF for NIST. That's a framework, by the way. And Dr. Gerald just basically said, I mean, if it's going to be the company doesn't have anything, he goes, I love NIST, but he was actually recommending this to start off with level 1 controls, and then go from there, because CSF is going to be a little more harder and expensive.
And I think it depends on every single company.
He's saying go on CIS before you go to CSF.
Yeah, because of the company had absolutely nothing cyber wise. He was literally the only GRC guy there.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the company itself, but yeah, I mean that's basically the same thing that I would say, and I've heard as well, is a lot of people will go with CIS to start with because also it's very easy to map over to almost any other framework. So I just closed it, but I did pull up the Trello board for CIS for an example.
I'm frowning up.
And
Chris. I'm frowning up. Go ahead.
And so level 1, 56 different subcategories here, different controls. And you're still going to go through and tailor it, but the mapping is so easy. So you can map to the 53. You could also do the PCI, HIPAA. You could add whatever you want onto it, and they make it very easy. And so I think that's why it's a really good option. And these are just like the bare minimums. Whereas like the CSF is a really great framework, but the cost and the time to get that implemented is going to, well, not necessarily years,
but I'm with you.
But still, like, if a company has nothing at all, you could roll this out way quicker. I think this would be way more straightforward and then easier to map over and later convert to CSF. Or even if it's like a small healthcare or, a small business, stay with CIS, and then if you have to add on PCI or HIPAA or whatever it is, you can always add that on.
As an elitist,
So,
I'm 853 guys, so I'm over here just frowning up, man. Just frowning up. But I get what you said. My thing is
we're gonna
security's
convert
hard,
you.
man. Let's look at it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be difficult. So let's get our big boy pants on, man, and let's run it. But
I have a question though.
what's your question, Sammy?
Since these guys, since this is the first time they're doing it, shouldn't these guys sit with the management and find out what they want, what they consider to be important to
Yeah,
them?
yeah,
No.
they
To me,
they
that's how I would
actually
go.
the
Well,
company
That is how I
actually
would set them at
wanted.
control. Yeah.
the
But
problem
they may not want
is
everything.
the
They may not want
problem is,
everything either.
Samuel, in real life, a lot of those guys don't really understand what cybersecurity is, so you have to guide them like a consultant.
Mhm.
Because a
Mhm.
lot of them don't, they know we just need to be secure. We need to be HIPAA, but they really don't know what that means.
Information security.
Right. So
Well,
people
yeah, that is why we ask them. That's why we ask them so that for me, I wanted to acknowledge that they don't know what it is, so that whatever I present, nobody will be questioning me. Nobody will say, "Well, we just sign up to that." Oh, we don't want that.
well,
Because
what's gonna
if we
happen
had a
is
meeting, and you tell me you don't know what we need, and I went out and draft a policy, I don't see any reason why you want to later say, hey, I did sign up for this, or we don't want this.
what's gonna happen, Samuel, and a lot of people will tell you this is they don't trust their in-house people, so they're gonna hire consultants and bring them in because they think they know more than their in-house people.
Yeah.
So that's what I see a
Okay.
lot of times. So
And
they hire
sometimes that's not the
consultants.
truth.
Oh, a lot of
Yeah.
times it's not the truth.
It's not true, yeah.
So that's what I see a lot of times, especially if you got their companies a little bigger. They're gonna hire external consultants to
External.
come in
Mhm.
to at least kind of get you revved up, and especially when you talk about the gig guys, they're gonna bring their methodologies in, right? So Booz Allen, if you
Yeah,
can afford
so
those guys, go ahead, Chris. Those methodologies.
yeah, I went ahead and dropped the links to the Trello boards in chat again in case anybody didn't have those already. And then also on that topic too is this video from Wild West Hacking Fest a few years back. This is a really, really good video, how to sell security to C-level. So C-suites, how to talk to them, some tips and tricks. I think it's about, yeah, so it's 57 minutes long. And this talks about that as well, as far as like being a consultant and working with other companies and like telltale signs on, should you just send a checklist to somebody? Like one of the best things I liked about it is like when you're working with supply chain, for an example, and you send like a checklist to them to see, what their maturity is and how they respond to it. If you get something back within 30 minutes, then something's wrong.
True story. We
Or
sent
if they
out.
don't,
Go ahead.
uh-huh.
Well, we sent out checklists. I was doing some of the biggest tax vendors that you give your tax information to online, and one of the smaller ones, we sent out a STIG checklist, and they came back and said they were 100% complete. My boss said we will not do business with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
basically,
and
I've
and
never
that's
seen anybody have 100% on them because you can't, especially if you got a legacy infrastructure.
yeah, exactly. It's very, very difficult. I don't, yeah, yeah, that's definitely a red flag. And so that's what this video also talks about. And then also how to go through and properly make checklists too. So like they purposely go through and they put like little things in there to see how the companies respond, because you want to make sure that they are actually in compliance or otherwise. And so, like I think one of the examples that they use is, do you have a CISO? And then like later on it asks, they ask like the same question but worded differently. Like, do you have, who's in charge of your IT management, or your InfoSec? Who's in charge of that? And then they just try to see how they respond to that to make sure that, it's not just reception, a secretary filling it out or something along those lines.
Dig does that, but they ask different teams. So like your DBA is gonna ask
True.
you something about the infrastructure, and the infrastructure is gonna ask you something about your database to see. And two is on the stick stuff. There's a couple things on there if you're not in DoD, like you won't have a CAT card, a PIV card, right? Very few organizations have that. I've only worked probably 2 companies that gave you a CAT card. So if somebody said they had a CAT card, we would be thinking, they're not paying attention to what we sending them. They're just saying yes.
And so I think a lot of businesses nowadays, and why SOC is getting so popular, is because it just makes it easier. Because what I've heard is that, oh, if you have a SOC, you're good. Don't even
Facts.
worry about it.
Yeah.
We're signing off on this checklist. We're good.
Mhm.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like a very bad strategy to have.
Well, it's yes and no. If you're an immature company, at least you got something, right? Like you're saying, if they don't know what you're doing, at least you know an accounting firm with an IT background is going to give you, like you said, it's probably going to be a level 1 or level 2 type check. So at least you know they have something, right? So there's pluses and minuses to it, right? Because they've done something and somebody's verified a lot of that basic hygiene stuff. I hate that word. Basic security hygiene stuff. The SOC 2 type 2 is gonna hit most of that. So they at least have the
Then at
basic.
least it's better than nothing.
Yeah. You in the game. They've done, and there's a lot of checks in there. I might do a video on there. I was surprised how many checks was on this SOC 2 type 2. I mean, it's a lot of questions. Hold on,
Yeah, I was just kind of curious about that aspect because I mean, I kind of see that as a concern. But then also, it's just like I don't have my notes up. I made some really good notes for the SOC, for the different levels of SOC, and like SOC 2 is after a set period of time. So I think it's at least a year, at least 12 months,
I
and
think
you're
so
still in
too.
compliance.
Yeah.
You pass a follow-up. And that's what most of the companies are calling for, is a SOC 2, because that shows that not only have you implemented the security controls or requirements, but then also you have shown that you're actively keeping up with it as well. It's not something that you've slacked on over a set period of time.
I hate
And
this
then
term. My boss calls it the good housekeeping seal. I hate that term, but a lot of people accept it.
housekeeping.
It's an old term before your time. There's some things where with some chemicals or things you did for your house, the government said that those were good to be in your house, or you could use it in your house, or use it for cleaning. So they used to give you the government good housekeeping seal. But that's kind of like the SOC 2 type 2. If you got it, you good, right? So that's an old term. I got to be careful. Hold on real quick. Man asked me, was I doing BIA in my current job? No, I did it 10 years when I worked for the Indiana state government as a consultant. I did not all of them, but I did disaster recovery, vendor assessment, and all that. The BIA flows into all of that. So that's kind of where I got my experience from, doing business impact analysis. And since we were a state entity, we actually did the FEMA BI checklist, which super dope. They talk about tornadoes and earthquake. They get a lot into the natural disasters.
You're better than all of us, Professor.
Nah, I'm just old, man. You gonna
What's
catch
up,
me,
man?
man. It's just time, man. It's just time. I'm old, that's all. It's just time.
So like one of the things that I was struggling with is the difference. I was getting confused between the business impact analysis and gap analysis because they're very similar.
They are. I think the business impact analysis help you rate to what you should be doing, right? So, and the gap tells you what you're deficient
missing.
on. Yeah.
What you're
So
missing.
business impact, and somebody actually asked me a question about this. A lot of times you can make it super detailed and qualitative, but we told people when we first started, each business area, we want your top 5 business functions, right? So that could be money saving. That means we got a federal requirement for a state requirement, a privacy requirement. What's your top 5 business requirements, and why is there the top 5? Then we got them all in the room. Then the C-suite said, okay, out of these top 5, these are the top 70 things we doing. We can only afford to do the top 12 our first year, right? So we didn't make it super difficult. But the weird thing though was, it was amazing. A lot of people thought they were important, but they wasn't important when we start ranking business functions. So,
Hey, PBO, wouldn't the BIA be first and then gap? Because I mean, the BIA tells you, it's first.
Yeah,
Because at that point, that's your company goals, and then the gap is basically everything
you're
that is
not doing.
missing.
Yeah.
Exactly, everything is coming out of the closet now.
Right. 100%. You got it. So the business impact said we're doing these business functions. Those business functions relates to technology underneath it. These are the web servers. These are app servers. These are the database. And after that, it's called RPO and RTO. What's the return of operations? And P is how much data can we lose? Right. So you start ranking those, and when you get those business functions, because the business doesn't talk in technology, they talk in business. So the business function is gonna drill down to the technology used to do that particular function.
I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's not like the business really doesn't let me see how can I word, like the business doesn't think like the IT, and IT doesn't think like cyber.
Right. What it is they're thinking in business, right? We think in technology, they thinking in money, processes.
We're thinking security, they think money, and IT's thinking about I guess if anything fixing
how to implement that business,
how to implement updates.
Right. Then when they do the technology, we trying to figure out, okay, you're doing it. Is it secure?
Exactly.
Then from a GRC perspective, is it secure and compliant? Because usually GRC, we talking about HIPAA, FISMA.
Our job
NIST,
is basically keeping the company alive. The owner's job is bringing the money.
No, you're mistaken.
No?
Because I always remember this, it took me 10 years, is security is just a cost to the business. I've been in a lot of meetings where they said, that costs too much, we're not doing it, but we're going to still do this business function. And I'm just going to salute the flag because it's a business risk. We think of it as a necessity. It's just a business risk for them. So they can accept it or not or get insurance, right? So it took me a long time. Security, we are the backbone of the company. That's incorrect. It's the people that make money is the backbone. That's how you get paid. So it took me a long time to figure stop.
Sales. I would have told you that a long time ago.
Chime in, man. What you got on that, man? I'm gonna let you chime in.
Sales is hey
Yeah,
guys,
that's absolutely right. No, that's absolutely right. Because we think that security should be top level, but it's not necessary for the business, because if you need top level security, you're gonna spend a lot of money.
100%.
Instead of spending that money, they can actually put the profits in their pockets. So it's a very, very thin line. But I think that's too much truth bombs for today, Professor.
I mean, my opinion in this, because of my background, I honestly, sincerely think that in a business period, and this is my background period, you need a sales bit. You need sales. If there's no sales, there's no money.
100%.
But me being now within this type of career, going after cybersecurity, specifically GRC, I do sincerely believe that right after sales is gonna have to be security, not even IT.
You are incorrect, sir.
No, you don't think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
just told you.
No,
just
no,
told
no,
you. That's
no.
what you want as a person. Profits overrule all of that, man.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Sales goes first.
No, but security's not next because it's profits. It's a lot of stuff before you get security's way down on the list, man.
Security is last.
The only time, I mean, and I talk to Chris, and I'm gonna let y'all get in. And Chris knows this, and I tell everybody this is security usually pops up when the government makes you do it.
Exactly.
It's an ISO requirement, or
security is like insurance. Security is like insurance. Like
unless you're a big company with federal requirements, they don't give a shit, man. Go ahead.
I mean, because of the way that you guys are making it sound is security basically is like insurance. In reality, we don't need insurance, but you need insurance when you get hit. Health insurance, like we pay that all year. There's people that they never use it, but it's just for that day. Like,
and I'd like to put it a little bit differently. So a different way to look at it is the security aspect, the risk aspect. It is a direct expense to the business itself. And so a lot of businesses have been operating just fine. I don't believe virtually any businesses really start with security as their mindset. They're trying to get a product to market.
There's the money.
They're trying to make money and so forth. And then later on, they go and they find out, hey, I can't do this because I don't have this compliance. I can't work with the government because I don't have, 171 or whatever.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, but this is where I agree, and then hear me out, watch. That is true what you're saying. Like security is not the main focus. The main focus is let's make money, sales, right? But then they have to do something, and then they're not doing it because they want to. They're doing it because they have to. So at that point, yeah, I mean, we're forcing ourselves in there, but we still government wise, we're still important. I wouldn't put security in the floor. I like in the bottom. I wouldn't.
The reason why you're
Well, like when
mistaken
you're,
is only big companies have those requirements, Caesar.
yeah,
It's
if you
all very,
look at,
it's a small
yeah,
amount of people that have those requirements. Chime in, Chris.
But let's even
yeah, if
put
you
it like
look
a
at
small
smaller
company.
companies,
Exactly.
a lot of small companies have nothing.
Okay.
There's a manufacturing facility that I personally know about. They have 400 employees and they have like 3 people on staff for their IT infrastructure. And none of them even know basic cybersecurity fundamentals. They could install a router, they know
Let's
networking, but
let's
they
not even
know
go
absolutely nothing about security.
let's not even go technical at all. No technical. Let's go with easy, simple controls. Deterrent. Very simple. You have the sales, you don't know nothing about security. Cameras is security. A little sign, hey, get away. And here in Texas, basically people have a gun. That's basically one of the signs. So I mean, as simple as I mean, me myself personally, yeah, money goes first, and then some people might do any type of security because they have to, maybe not because they want to, but you're gonna have to do it depending on the where you're located. What's your like? I mean, I wouldn't put security in the bottom.
So I think the reason that security is at least near the bottom almost always, the only time that security gets raised up higher is when they have to for business purposes to make more money. But the reason why it's so low is because there's so many things before that step. You know, like security is important, but it cannot get in the way of the business operating. And
Of
so you
course.
have to make sure that employees can do their job, that security doesn't get in that way. You have to make sure that it doesn't affect the supply chain or, you know, all of these different functions. You know, like if you implement a patch management, for an example, you need to be able to make sure that that's not going to have any downtime.
We're in the
You know,
background.
because yeah, exactly. And it's a last resort. You know, they would prefer their systems unpatched and to be able to still run their call center than to have it patched. And then once a year, they're down for 6 hours. So,
Yeah.
I agree with you,
mean,
but here's the problem. As long as they believe that they are going to continue to get hacked, they're going to suffer
true.
somewhere.
Yes.
That is it. The prime
It's,
market. That is supply demand.
yeah. It's not that it's a perfect
They have no choice.
system. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
ideal. It's just the reality. Yeah, you're completely right there, Samuel. That's a
yeah.
good point.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that is why
agree to
hackers,
disagree.
well, that is why you see
Either
North
we'll
Korea,
talk about it.
Russia,
We'll
and the
talk about
rest,
it.
they are
I'll
into it.
I'll just give my 2 cents before I leave. I have 11 o'clock.
Hey, before you do
Um,
leave, before you do leave, we're gonna go right ahead and check the test. There's like a quiz that Chris already popped in. So if you don't mind, we want your 2 cents on that one too. We appreciate it.
I can't wait for that long, unfortunately. But I'll tell you one thing, right? Security is not the basis of the business. Every business is running for a long time. They don't care. You have to understand how you can keep it secure, and there are like 5 or 6 fundamental things that you can do, and the business will be secured, right? So it's not really a big thing. I hope that it becomes a valued thing in the future, but unfortunately, it's not at the moment. So I think as the CISO of LinkedIn, I hope that you can keep the mindset.
Have a good day, man. Have a good day, man.
See you guys. See ya.
Yeah,
see you,
unfortunately,
man.
you leave me, but I don't think no business will be secured. It's a fallacy to believe that a business will be secured. I'm sorry, no business will be secured because it's a question of demand and supply. Anytime there is a demand for something, you can never overcome that. That is why you have drug war. Drug will never go away. So cyber will not go away because people make money from it, and the incentive is there to keep breaking into systems, and it doesn't matter how much business invest in it. All you can do to minimize it. That's what you can do, is minimize it. It just will going away, it will never go away.
So, yeah, I mean, exactly. And I mean, hopefully in the future it is a little bit different. And that's one benefit of, us. I mean, we're the next ones going into it. And I mean, hopefully we can position it a little bit differently for the future, but the reality is right now that's just not the situation. So, I mean, ideally security is a first, concept, from the get-go, from, product creation, but it's just so often it's not, even though it should be. So
I think that's why you got a lot of people going to the cloud, because I heard smaller companies like, I'm in AWS, I'm good. I'm like, that's a no.
That's a
That's a
like,
no. So
and to be honest, like the cloud portion, I think is actually a benefit because even though there are still a lot of issues with moving to cloud, I believe what I've seen so far is that it can be cheaper and easier to become compliant in the cloud.
to
100%.
manage. It's just easier
Overall.
to manage.
The legacy, getting your stuff up in there is the part. Now, if you got a new company, you
Yeah.
spinning up in there, but when I was at the state trying to get in the cloud was brutal because they got a lot of legacy.
Yeah, especially like smaller, medium-sized businesses going to cloud, like it would probably be easier than on-site.
No, by far. If you're small and you got, especially if you're a newer company, yeah,
Yeah.
And much, like you said, much cheaper too, much more secure. So
Yeah, I've actually been really surprised by it because I was looking a little bit into the Google side of it as well. I'm actually kind of impressed by the Google Cloud options. Like they actually have a pretty good
I'm mad.
thing.
Did you see the one where they lost the company's data? It was supposed to fell over, and they fell over, failed. So they apologized.
Google.
It cost them like $10 million. Yeah, Google sucked. I got to reach out to a homie of mine that works for Google.
Google sucks.
And there goes
Google
the
sucks.
Steady GRC YouTube channel right there.
Yeah.
Now we're gone.
Yeah.
Did anybody else have any other topics here? Let's see.
Julianne's question in there in the chat, Chris. I think we can.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So Udemy. So you can get free courses or free access to Udemy. If you through a library.
You can definitely get the free access. The thing is, like, if you're looking like for a certificate or something like that, you won't get it unless you do the paid version. But it's good.
Yeah.
But it's good for the knowledge. I mean, you definitely get some courses there for free. It's just you're not going to get a certificate. So at that point, you're being tested on your knowledge, not on the paper.
Yeah. I think it was China who mentioned it before that you can also go through and get LinkedIn Learning using your library card as well.
I tried, but it didn't.
Did that work?
No, it didn't. Like I
I'll
literally
have to look at it too.
I literally went to the library and like, let me give my library ID. And it didn't work.
Chris, I got one more question real quick. I know we get later.
I think it depends. Maybe some in our area it's possible. Yours may not be possible. Different policies, different counting.
Different counties might have to. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
This link for Udemy that Junilin gave, I just used my library card. I was able to get in, so it works for Udemy at least.
Shit, she got a better library card than y'all.
Yeah, she got the American Express.
Yeah, she got the VIP library card, man.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't even had a library card in 10 years.
Shit, probably 25. I mean, somebody asked me another question. I want to bring it up real quick. Chris, they were talking about from the SOC 2, when you were giving security questions to a third-party vendor. So somebody said, do you give them before or after they win the award? So a lot of times as a bigger company, we send people security questions for them to answer so we can see if we're going to pick their software, especially when I work for the state. Okay. The other part about it is if you're dealing with smaller companies, I will send the security questions early. The reason why is we picked a smaller company. We liked them. We gave them the RFP. They wanted to bid. When we gave them the security questions, they said it was too difficult and they backed out. And we spent like 4 months trying to get them ready so we could use their software. So it just kind of depends on the maturity of the company. when you send them security questions or ask certain security questions. The smaller companies, I do it up front so they know what they're getting into. Now, if you're dealing with Oracle, AWS, Azure, they know this stuff inside and out. So we just wait till afterward to send them security questions. So that was just kind of high level. Somebody asked me something.
When I get my first job, I'm definitely gonna pitch security. And
You're
then
gonna
I'm
get
gonna
hired because they looking for you to do security.
Yeah, I was gonna
probably,
say,
right? You
yeah,
tell
you're gonna
them.
get you're gonna get an intern job, and then you're gonna be like, oh, this isn't how it's supposed to work, and they're gonna walk you right out. They're gonna be like, take your lunch, Caesar, and don't come back.
See, I think you're gonna be applying for security jobs, so they should be already knowing that they need security. If in Cali, you can use okay.
I'm gonna call PBO. It's like, hey, let me get some of those questions.
I got them for you. They're out there, but yeah. So at the state, it was crazy amount of questions, man. I thought it was too many. We were sitting on like 50, 60 questions. I was like, oh my God. But of course, we were doing the IRS Pub 1075, and that's a whole different bailiwick of security when you're trying to do federal work. So
security is my passion now. Seriously.
it is my passion, but kind of like, you ever see that meme where they got John Daly and Tiger Woods? So I'm John Daly. I'm old and grizzly. It sounds cool till you get in there. So it's like, yeah, they really want to do security, but they have no budget. I'm John Daly smoking like, yeah, what we really gonna do, right? You Tiger Woods, we're gonna do all the best security on the planet. I'm the old grizzled guy. Yeah, we got about 300,000. We can only do like 4 controls. That's me and you talking. You see those memes I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh man.
So yeah, that's gonna be me and you. So, but yeah, I will let somebody else chime in. We done. Anybody else got anything? Michael, Julianne. We be monopolizing all the time, so
yeah.
Everybody got me.
Hey guys, the only thing we will ask, please, that survey, please take your time and just do it, because that's the only way that that Chris and Study Jersey will be able to give you guys exactly what you want and learning learning phases.
We're just we're a community event here and so forth, and so getting feedback is just really valuable, so that way we can keep it useful for everybody.
Yeah.
So different topics to cover, go in more depth with different things or whatever it is. So one of the big things is that what I really, really like is the fact that people have different backgrounds. And so like PBO, basically anything about 853, he could tell you in his sleep. So, and then like Robert he's not here tonight, but he'll be back next week. And he has the financial background, PCI and working with finance, banking industry. So that's really useful. And it's pretty broad across the board. So, and then like right now I'm still studying for this CIPP, and I'm hoping to be testing out like the first week of next month.
Are you? How's your studying?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to.
It's going. It's going.
Hopefully
I'm trying to study a couple hours.
Hopefully you're doing better than me.
Yeah, I try to study. Typically I like to study early in the morning for like 2 hours solid. And so a couple of people out of the SlaySec Plus community, so Jesse, who runs it, and then also Tyler McDonald that's in there. Both of them, like they are able to go through and they do what I don't even know what you would call it, just like flash sessions. So like if you're standing in line at the grocery store, you just, pull up and do some quizzes or read a couple pages or something. And you just do 5, 10, 15 minutes throughout the day. That doesn't work for me. Like I will literally sit down for 2 hours straight and not do anything else for that 2 hour period. And that's just what works for me. And I have a couple books and a bunch of printed material and so forth. So the hardest part that I've had so far is going through with the different states, because you're supposed to basically memorize these 13 different, obviously, policies from across the United States.
The whole country.
Yeah, like when it was enacted, when it was last updated, who it's for, who it's not for, some of the different intricacies with each one. And it's a lot of information. Wow. So it's pretty in depth. It's not just as simple as just knowing them. You actually have to know at least some information about those particular ones as well.
You're getting a law degree, my man.
Facts.
It's way closer to the legal side than I thought it would be, to be honest.
No, you should have asked
I was
me. I
actually,
would have told you. Yeah, facts. Go ahead.
yeah, I could definitely understand why attorneys get this, because also what I saw on the IAPP website for it is if you are an attorney and you do pass the CIPP, then you can also there's a special type of accreditation for having passed the bar exam and having the CIPP. And so it makes you like a specialty data privacy attorney, basically, lawyer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really in-depth on the legal side of things. And I didn't think that it would be to the depth that it is. It's not an introduction to it. It's no, definitely not. And so I think the first week of next month, I should be able to test out. And I think in total that would come out to about six or 7 weeks worth of study time. So I should be good to go.
Good luck, man. I just applied for a
Yeah.
job in Dallas. I might have to go down there and check out Caesar.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the communities down in a lot of communities down there in Texas.
I'm in Austin, but definitely if anybody wants to come down here, shoot, I'm doing Uber right now, so just let me know. I won't charge you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, yes. Caesar's gonna get on with the CMMC, and then PBO and me and so forth. We'll hop in right behind him.
100%. Like I'm honestly want to get a job. That's my goal. I want to get a job this year.
Let me know anything I can do. Let me know.
I'm talking to everybody I can. I left my job for this career.
Good luck, man.
I have a question.
I gave you the ITAR. Yep. Yes. What's your question?
So recently I just jumped into a team who's basically a non-profit organization, and I'm actually again volunteering for them to kind of refine some of the policy documentation. So it started off with, they call it digital policy. Whereas like I have been like maybe studying or reading up on information security policy, right? So I have like two questions. One is, in any of your experiences, like, do you see a huge difference between a digital policy and information security policy? And the second one is any recommendation or any like guidelines on how best we could do this, given this is a non-profit organization?
I think there's I'll take a shot. Let me go. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's huge, because digital and security, there's a little overlap, but digital could be just use policy. How are you doing it? How are you uploading, and how are you saving data? When you talk about a security policy, right, that's usually more of a security program. I guess my question is, does your nonprofit, is it HIPAA work? Is it government work? Is it federal work? What classification are y'all doing with that nonprofit? If you can share that, that would be my first inference, is because depending on what data you PCI HIPAA is going to tell you what, it's going to tell you what policies and procedures, and like we talked about before, is it going to be one? You're going to break them up? So let me let you talk, because I can talk forever. So, but yeah, what data are you using in the nonprofit would be my first question.
So I'm actually still gathering the information. I just pinged the link for the nonprofit. I'm still gathering the information as to the technical things that they have, the assets, the information assets and the data and stuff. But on a high level, I think I came to know that they have a lot of, actually I need to get back to my notes for that, but hold on, please. So I think, they are doing a lot of Azure, Microsoft based platform on this. But again, I mean, we have like reached out to the technical people who have implemented this website for more information.
I guess just looking at the website,
I think
are they going to go for any grants, federal or state grants? Because women in tech, there's a lot of grants. Are they going to try to go for any grants, government or federal grants? Because if you go for those, they want you to kind of have a high level because you're getting government money. That would be my first question. Just looking at that website.
Okay.
So that's probably
you do mentorship.
Yeah, you need to probably ask the board of kind of what are they taking any credit cards information? Because a lot of times they paying or or you selling people stuff, shirts or anything. A lot of times out of 10, you probably would just get a service that's PCI requirements, so it wouldn't flow down to your website. But once again, are they getting government and federal grants? Or are they doing any payment type work? Then I think that'll tell you, are you asking for people's personal information, home address, email? That would be PII. So from a data classification, I think kind of that's where we need to start. Go ahead, Samuel. I'll let you chime in.
Well, yeah, you may want to start with CIS. You just go to CIS, like you're saying, see what management.
Samuel, you don't know what data they collected first, man. How you gonna say CIS? We don't even know what data they collected, man. I just gonna throw out CIS. Go ahead.
Let me finish, please. Yeah, we want to sit with management, ask them what they want and what they want to do. Like I said, outlining for you. Then you go to CIS and find out the control there where what corresponds to whatever they want to do. Then from there you start mapping it one by one. To me, that would be the simplest approach to go about it, because you are dealing with them. You know them better. So ask them what they want to do. What is like you said, from what I can see here, do mentorship. So that means you have data on young people. So how you keep the data and then the age requirement, the personal information, the PII, how you keeping all that. That will be a part of the control you also want to look at. Then the fundraising, how you generating the money.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And one of those questions was like the difference between the information security policies and the digital policies themselves. My understanding is that it's very, very similar. The difference is the digital side focuses more on digital assets and electronic data, whereas information security is the whole broad, start to finish, from physical to security to, user access and so forth as well. It's just more focused, which I think would be more popular in the cloud, but it's more limited.
So you're saying information security is more broad than the digital policy?
Yes. So the digital policy, my understanding is that you're talking about like protecting digital assets, like file storage, for an example, and not necessarily like the physical security aspect of it or some of the different aspects that would be involved under the broader term of information security.
Okay.
Which I think is more common in the cloud.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so, like, especially if you're utilizing the cloud itself, then, that's where the shared responsibility model comes in. I think that's where the digital portion would be more applicable than just information security. I think that the terms can be pretty interchangeable, honestly, except for the fact that, like, when somebody says digital policies, they're talking about like data protection, not necessarily information protection, like the whole system.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Does that sound about right, PBO? Or
no, you hit it right on.
Well, yeah, I think. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, yeah, I think that is right. Also, you want to talk about your encryption, your password, that are part of digital protection we're talking about here. Especially with the names and addresses of the students, the youth. I see a lot of young women here. How do you protect that? When you send them, do you send it to board members? If you do, then are they encrypted? So these are things you want to look at. And the forms too, if they had to fill out the forms, then how are those forms kept? How are they secured? To make sure that nobody else can get access to it.
Okay.
And two that was on there too is you got employees connect in there. So is most of your employees working from home, or they got an office or a hybrid? You know what that looks like?
So this is again like a volunteer-based organization. They have members and sponsors and things like that. It's basically an alliance for women promoting technology here in this area. So mostly like we do remote, but sometimes like there are in-person meetups or conferences that DFW ATW itself sponsors.
So I guess everybody's using BYOD. They're bringing their own device and just connecting to Azure.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just had a heart attack when you said that. Okay.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, that is you gotta be
Because
very
when
careful
people
there.
bring their own device, I can't put GPOs. I don't know if people connected with the kids playing games on. They son looking at bad movies on. So for me, I like to control the device. So now when you got BYOD, so like Samuel said, now I got to have a little more security because I don't know what you're doing on your laptop when you connect it. Right? I don't know if you got virus protection on it. I don't know if you got malware protection on it. I don't know if you got Intune. So we got some IP protection for back. So now your laptop's the Wild Wild West, and we just letting them connect.
Yeah. So you may want to have what network segmentation, in the sense that the network you put the system, the organization will be different from the one the student, the children or the student will access when they come on premise, to avoid somebody, because some of those they have open ports. All those keys gadgets, they have open ports, they are not protected. Many of them are still using the default setting password. So to me, I would segment the network.
Yeah, but he's right. But I would just baby steps. I would figure out what data classification, just kind of get that first, and I think that's going to lead you to what your policies and procedures. And I think Sam is 100% right, but I would just kind of do it in phases.
Well, and it really does depend on what the sensitivity of the data is. So if it's confidential information, it's going to require those additional steps like network segmentation and so forth. But if it's just public information that doesn't really matter, then that would kind of be a waste. Also, if it's already in the cloud, then another option to look at is like that edge computing, the thin clients. So,
yeah, we want to do that, but everybody wants to bring their own device, Chris, because it's the easiest. But I'm with you. But so in reality, everybody want to just connect with what they're doing with.
So I still think you like go back to them with all these.
No. That's what I'm saying. I would just ask them what the classification data is, and like just ask them from the partnership who are your partners or those third party people you connected to for like payments. So the link I would get is your classification of data. Okay. Third party who's connecting to who. Then I'm work from home. How many people I guess is in that organization that's connecting from work from home. So those are the three things I will start with.
Oh, hold on. By the way, are they using VPN when they work from home? Are you using VPN? If not, then that is risky.
Yeah, and then
you wanted to be. I bet you're not using VPN. But, I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's a leap, Samuel. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And then Michael, you have your hand up. Did you have something to say?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I've not been here in a very, very long time. I just wanted to ask a question. This is kind of based off colleague or I won't call it colleague, but we're in the same kind of class. So she posted something on her LinkedIn, and she was saying that unfortunately, this has something to do with PCI kind of, but she was saying something that to the extent that Google Chrome had saved her CVC or CVV. That's the on your credit card, debit card, the last those three numbers at the back of your debit or credit card, that Google had actually saved it without her knowing that was the case. And she brought attention to the fact that in Google settings, they actually have a setting for you to save security codes. If you know anything about PCI DSS, especially the requirement tree in PCI DSS says that you cannot store sensitive authentication data, and the CBC is qualified as a sensitive authentication data. So my question, long and short, is how can I disable that stuff? Because I've looked at it, it's on Chrome. I want to disable it because, you know, when you just, you know, on your browser, when you sometimes go sometimes you just use your browser, and, you know, occasionally these guys do updates that Chrome does updates and stuff like that. How do you disable it? I know some people will suggest, oh, why don't you use the Brave browser? I said, fine, I can use Brave browser, but I'm used to Chrome. So does anyone know how you can disable that? Save security codes in the setting of the browser?
Are you talking about doing it for personal or for a company?
Well, for personal.
Okay.
But it's something for me to learn, because I was shocked to see that Google was violating PCI DSS standards.
What?
Have you checked University or YouTube?
University of YouTube. No.
And
Yeah,
what browser are you referring to?
Chrome browsers.
Chrome.
I'm looking it up now, Chris.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I was gonna look at the STIG.
Payment
I'm
methods.
looking at the STIG now. I think it's a STIG.
That's what I was pulling up.
Yeah, you
so go to settings. So where you see it is you click on the, you know, the three dots on the top right hand corner. You click on settings. You look at, what is that? Pay method or something.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you could deactivate pretty much everything in there from the flags. So what feature is it exactly? So I'm in the settings on Chrome.
I'm also there. Let me look at what she said. Again.
Found it.
I don't know. Let me see if I can Snapchat it and I post it so you guys can see what she was noting.
Thank you for joining, Zuyuki.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be ending here soon. I'm kind of intrigued by this.
Yeah, Suki, let us know, because I think that's good steps for you. If you got anything else, just let us know.
So just give me a minute. Let me just do a snap.
Chris,
Let me
click on
use a
that.
snap tool.
In the
Let me
chat.
look at. Let me use a snap tool and see if I can. Oh, come on, man, this is wrong.
That's 2018, but I think that's the setting right there. From a GPO perspective, it tells you how to disable the credit card. So I think it would be regular settings for that.
Is it the credit card that he's trying to do?
Yeah, I thought it was the credit card, because he was talking about the CVE for PCI. Was you talking about the credit card setting, right?
So the credit card, yeah, the card setting on your Google on Google Chrome.
There it is. It tells you how to disable it. That's from
Where is that?
2018. I put it in the chat. Chris
it's in the chat.
Okay.
See if that's current though, because that is from 2018. But that they very rarely change those. Because we blocked that at when I was at the state. So that's the GPO setting to block it. It is a medium severity though. I thought it would be high actually. So yeah, that's the GPO and the Windows method added. So like I said, the GPOs would be how we blocked it from the company settings.
See, I find that interesting because on my Google Chrome, I can disable that in the settings to even allow it to autofill credit card.
Yep, most people whoever did it, they probably just didn't have that setting set.
Or they didn't update their Chrome browser.
And you got to be careful every time you update it too. That's probably gonna cut it back on.
Yeah, and that's the issue.
That's why we do the GPO. That's why we do the GPO setting, because that'll block it. I need to set. I guess I could set GPO up for my personal machine. I just never done. But at work, we set the GPO on that always blocks it.
What you should do is you should do a YouTube video about it.
There you go, man.
There's another idea for you now.
There it is.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, so 'cause,
Okay.
yeah, we had that problem when I was at the state. So people was, we were taking credit cards over the phone. So that was really crazy. So
Yeah.
so yeah, we blocked the GPL setting right there.
All right, and then I'm checking YouTube one more time here. Yep, so we're good. Yeah, we're just over that 2-hour mark now, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Unless you guys have another quick one there. I'm not even sure if Caesar came back yet.
For 2 hours. I thought you guys decided 7:30.
We did. It's 9:30 here.
7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern. What time is it?
Oh.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Min's back. Joining right in time for us to kick him out.
Yeah, but the autofill, once again, that's the GPL setting. That's really what I'm gonna do a video, getting comfortable
I'm here,
with
guys.
those GPL settings from a GRC perspective. Because those really
Yeah, we're about to
requirements,
end it.
Yeah,
Yep.
these are the requirements we get to the engineer, these type of GPL settings for them to set. You tell the engineer, this is the requirements. You need to set the GPL so nobody in the company can autofill credit cards.
I'm proud of myself. I only got 2 wrong or 3.
Shout out. I got to do like
Nice.
Chris. I got to do a couple CISP tests real quick. I do about 50 questions a night.
Oh, that's an idea for us to do next week.
What's up?
Yeah, everybody's gonna fail.
CISSP questions.
Everybody's gonna
fail
fail.
the way I've been taking them lately. So. But
That's high level. From what I
No.
hear, even CISSP is just management of,
yeah,
more
yeah,
of management.
Yeah, but those
It's the
questions
word
be
of
hard.
cybersecurity.
Facts. That's the gold standard.
Oh,
GRC
God.
is GRC in another sense.
Yeah.
You got anything else for us,
All right.
Michael?
Okay, guys.
Thank you very much for everybody joining.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. But we'll be back next week, 7:30 Eastern. You definitely reach out to me or otherwise on LinkedIn or Discord if you have any questions. I did drop that survey
Thanks.
link. It's also on YouTube as well. And thank you for joining. And then next week we'll go through and do it all over again. So I look forward to seeing you guys
Chris,
next week.
All right, I'll get back to you during the week, man. I've been out of town. I just came back. Okay.
Yeah, not a
All
problem.
right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
All right,
Yep, you
fellas.
guys have a good week.
Ping me if
Yes,
y'all
sir.
need
Good
anything.
night, everyone.
Good night,
Have a good
Mike.
night, guys.
Bye-bye,
Hopefully that
everyone.
helped you, man.